December 2022, Bangkok. 3 years ago, I started this YouTube channel, and the profile pic, if I didn't change it, is the same. You can see this building here is in the background, and I had this exact hat. And I would work right here in this tower. I had my office, and in those 3 years, I've learned a lot of stuff. First of all, this hat doesn't fit me anymore. I've got a bit too much hair. And so I thought, why not talk about those lessons? 3 years, 3 lessons. Are you in? The first lesson here is gonna be about the grind. When I was here in Bangkok 3 years ago, all I knew how to do was grind. I was starting my short form agency, and I grinded all the hours I could. I wouldn't sleep so much. And actually, this office here, the G Tower, or as we called it with my friend, the top G Tower. Actually, we would wake up, train at the gym that's right above us, shower, eat, and then go to the office here and spend the whole day here and sometimes night. So I would sometimes go home at like 2, 3, 4 a.m. All I knew how to do was the grind, and now I have a much more different relationship with the grind. Not because I got older, but because I figured out it wasn't necessarily the thing that was pushing the right levers forward. Because, people say you gotta work hard, but I think it's much more important to work on the right thing and work on it consistently. And that's what I've been asking for in the past few months, is consistency, because consistency in anything will get you results. But if you change vehicles every time and you come back, then you can't compound. So I would say don't necessarily grind. You can work a few hours a day, but work on the right thing. And that's what I would tell my past self 3 years ago. Just select the right thing, the thing where you have an unfair advantage, and just work on it consistently. Even if you don't really like it, if there's some kind of connection that can bring you some ROI and help people, then work on it. That's an asset. Doesn't necessarily need to be linked to your passion, even though it can lead to it. You usually connect the dots looking backwards, but sometimes you can feel how the dots are connecting forward. So that was for lesson 1. Lesson 2 of those 3 lessons in 3 years is having a long-term horizon versus short-term one. In those past years of entrepreneurship, I've started countless projects. I failed more than I can count. And the switch that I got recently that actually made everything much more easier is the horizon on which one projects himself. In my example, I used to only project myself within 3 months. And actually, that's how I designed my journal, the Sovereign Journal, based on 90 days. And I felt like I needed to accomplish what I wanted within those 90 days, within those 3 months. After that, it was the end of the world. So I needed to succeed absolutely in those 3 months. And I would start over after those 3 months, just as if the game was finished. The truth is, there's gonna be a lot of 90 days coming, God willing. And so now the new shift is, rather than seeing things in a 3 months horizon, is seeing things in a 3-year horizon. And when you think that far, it makes things much more easier. And I know it sounds obvious, but the trap I was in when I was thinking 3 months in a 3 months horizon was that I was comparing myself to all those other guys who are very successful, but I didn't see when they started all the work they put in. Those young guys who are successful by 20, 21, they already had the intention most of the time to be successful in their area when they were younger, when they were 14, 15, 16 maybe. So you gotta take that into account and extend your horizon. It makes everything much more achievable, even the craziest dreams. 3 years is a good chunk of time. If you're consistent in those 3 years, you can literally do anything, even less than that. So that's a shift. Shift from 3 months horizon to 3 years. Last lesson of those 3 lessons in 3 years is positioning, mostly related to business, but positioning is everything. Over the years, I've seen countless businesses, and I've started ones and I've failed a lot of ones. And the difference between the ones that succeed a lot to a high degree and those who don't, for the same skills, is positioning, is how you position yourself within the market, how people see you. And to give you a clear example, I'll tell you a little story comparing my friend and I, who are working in this exact tower on the same exact business, and how he ended up much, much more successful because he made the right choices. So this is kind of like the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but he's the rich dad. We started our agencies at the same time. It was a short form content agency which pivoted into a bunch of different stuff. And after the Bangkok Time Chamber, we started to follow different paths. At first, we served any client we had, right? We were just sending a lot of cold email, just trying to sign anybody. But then we started to pivot and choose a direction. I went for the fitness creators, the fitness coaches, which honestly ended up not being the best decision. Even though now it's different, but it wasn't the best decision. If I compare with him now, it was not the best decision, 100%. So I was working with those coaches, those fitness creators, which had the budget to work with me, but let's be honest, they weren't that incentivized to invest money in our services. And so it made my path much more harder after that time, after Bangkok 2022. And I literally crashed. I crushed my agency. I had to rebuild it from scratch and try to find a new positioning, new services. Whereas he pivoted into serving a niche that has money, that is not using its own money. That's a big detail here. And that didn't pay for ROI, where I was focused on bringing ROI to those fitness coaches, fitness creators. I was thinking I need to produce content that will make them money, and so then I need to optimize their funnel. So I was doing all the work, but I wasn't getting paid to the height of that work, to the problems it was solving. And because these weren't people with higher budgets, then even though I could solve their problems, it wouldn't lead to leverage results. With this friend who worked with people in venture capital, so it has a lot of money, which didn't pay for content just to generate clear financial ROI, but it just wanted to build awareness. And so if you think about it, if somebody is willing to pay for awareness, they have a lot of budget, because awareness is very surface level. They want to be in the minds of people, so they're willing to invest money into that, and they don't need to have a financial ROI. If they don't need to have a financial ROI, it means they have money, they have budget to invest in that. And so that was a very smart choice on his end and his business partner. And so yeah, he chose this path. I chose another path. I crashed down, and he became even more successful. Month on month, crazy growth. And now he's at the height of his niche. He's dominating the niche. He's signing the best clients, the best brands. And so he succeeded in that game, because the difference, and I come back to the first lesson, is that he had a long-term horizon, always a long-term horizon. He was always making sure he was hiring the right people, spending a lot of time on testing them, where I was very quick. I was hiring very fast, then firing fast as well, but I didn't take as much time in hiring my talent. But I think that wasn't the main problem. But it's just to give you an overview of the mindset, the difference in mindset, the long-term way, the short-term way, which was me, and the positioning himself as the expert in a niche that doesn't need financial ROI, and me positioning myself in a niche that needs financial ROI. So whenever they gave me money, it was more stressful for them. But on the other side, when the clients of my friend paid him, they didn't stress about it. You know, it was just a normal investment. They were already investing in some other stuff. So that's the lesson. 1, stop grinding. Focus on working on the right thing consistently, every day, every week. 2, 3 years versus 3 months. The further you can project yourself, the more dangerous you'll be. And 3, position yourself as the expert people want to work with. So that was it. That was 3 years from this tower here. I traveled a lot, did a bunch of stuff, and it goes pretty fast. Time flies. So you gotta make time your ally. Thanks for your time, and see you in the trenches.